On this outdoor episode of UTR, we explore many of Michigan's great parks. First, we head downriver for some wildlife, and up the Sunrise side for a walk on the moon. Then we show you a lake in the clouds in the UP, an ancient island in Lake Michigan, a Detroit gem, and some sandy dunes in the Southwest. Get ready to explore the cool parks that make Michigan a great place to be outside.
Support for Under the Radar Michigan comes from the Michigan State Housing Development Authority. For 50 years, MSHDA has been proud to help thousands of Michigan residents find a home and open all the possibilities found within. MSHDA, opening possibilities.
Carpools, conferences, microwave dinners. They blur one into the next. We lose ourselves in the fog of everyday life and drift away from what matters. But like a beacon in the night, it finds us. The light of more than 100 lighthouses burning through that fog and beckoning us back to what's real and true. This light shines for us all. This light is pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
Additional support provided by Michigan Historic Preservation Network, dedicated to recognizing and preserving Michigan's rich cultural and architectural heritage. And by Michigan Coalition Against Homelessness, working to prevent and end homelessness in Michigan.
I've been around the world, but there's one place I keep coming back to. And the more I explore, the more I realize it's the place to be. I'm Tom Dalton, and this is Under the Radar Michigan.
Does the hustle and bustle of modern city life have you a bit hyper? Well, hold on, because we're about to show you some places where you can go park yourself. Literally.
On UTR, when we want to relax and get green, we visit one of our incredible parks, and we've been to tons of them. So for the next half hour, it's Michigan Parks and Rec, where we explore some of our state's greatest places to play and get away. First up, we discover some southern Michigan wildlife.
Did you know that the only international wildlife refuge on this continent is right here in southeast Michigan? I didn't know that, and I've got a show that's about nothing but Michigan. I'm so embarrassed.
That's right, take it from your favorite mustached Michigan expert. Downriver is home to the Detroit River International Wildlife Refuge. Nearly 6,000 acres of islands and coastal wetlands that stretch 48 miles along the Detroit River and western Lake Erie shoreline. John Hardig manages these natural resources, and when it comes to wildlife downriver, he's the man to talk to.
For people who don't know where this refuge is, explain where we are.
Right now, we're in the city of Trenton, Michigan, at the lower end of the Detroit River. And we're in this incredible connecting channel that all the upper Great Lakes, all of the water from Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, Lake Huron flow through this river, go down to the lower lakes. It's the intersection of two flyways, the Atlantic and Mississippi flyways that go through here. Fish, 113 species of fish pass through this river. It's an incredible place, but it also happens to be the automobile capital of Canada and the United States, and a home to nearly 7 million people.
How long has this been a refuge?
This has been a refuge since 2001, so we're 12 years old. In refuge circles, we're young. But think of how many people live in urban areas in the United States today. It's nearly 80% of all the people in the United States live in urban areas. Think of how we need to reconnect kids to nature. And how do we do that? We have urban refuges. So we're one of a very small handful of urban refuges in the United States, and we're the only international one because with Canada. So we're truly unique.
What's amazing to me is this used to be an industrial area, but now I imagine this is what it probably looked like for the settlers. You've taken it back to its original state.
What we're trying to do is not only do what is right and restore some of these habitats and clean these places, but use it as a teachable moment. So when we bring kids here, we can say, look to the north and you see the power plant stacks of the Trenton Channel Power Plant and the industrial revolution of the 20th century. If you look to the south, you see the last mile of natural shoreline on the U.S. mainland of the Detroit River, Humbug Marsh. That's as close to what Cadillac saw in 1701 when he founded Detroit. That's what it sort of looked like. And here now you see one of the best examples of sustainable redevelopment of a brownfield site in the 21st century. So you can see this contrast and explain this is where we want to go with the place we call home.
After spending some time here, not only do you realize what a great place this is to be, you also start to understand why places like this are so important. Did I know about the Detroit River International Wildlife Refuge? No, I did not. Will I be back? Yes, I will.
Now, next up, we're going to take you for a walk on the moon right here in Michigan, and you won't even need a spacesuit. Bonus. You know, just outside of Alpena is a really cool and interesting place to go explore. So I found a really cool and interesting person to take me there. Pretty cool, huh?
Not only is Mary Beth Stutzman the head of the CVB in these parts, she also happens to be a lover of the great outdoors and even an amateur geologist. And she was my pick to show me a fascinating state park called Rockport.
You know what's so neat about this park is it's beautiful, but it's bizarre looking at the same time. This looks like a lunar landscape.
It really is. It's like walking onto a different planet almost.
Totally.
And that's because it used to be an old limestone quarry. So all of this is all of these big piles of rock, and you can see some of the steel structure over there from some of the buildings are left over from the mining operation.
Oh, hence the name Rockport.
You're right. It's a port, and they shipped rocks out of it. And one of the reasons why Rockport is a recreation area instead of just a regular state park is because we have two other state parks in the area that protect pristine natural environments.
Yeah.
And this is the place that adds to that complement of that kind of trifecta of state recreation park areas. People can come here and be active.
I just read that this is Michigan's 100th state park.
Yes, 100th state park. It was dedicated in 2012. And there's so many interesting things here. It's a great place for biking and hiking. There are about a dozen sinkholes you can trek back into the woods to look at.
Oh, we love sinkholes.
There's a bat hibernaculum. About 3 different species of bat hibernate here at the park.
Hibernaculum?
Hibernaculum.
Was that their bedroom?
Big word. I don't know. That's where they hang out.
That's where they sleep. This is breathtaking. This is beautiful. You've got, like I said, this lunar landscape over the forest. You've got the lake, you've got the big old metal structure sticking out. It's so surreal. It's awesome.
Yep.
Well, if the views at Rockport alone aren't worth the visit, next Mary Beth and I made our way back down to lake level, hit the trails, and traveled about 400 million years back in time.
So part of the cool thing about Rockport is that there is a 300-acre limestone quarry on site, which means lots of fossils from the Devonian period.
Oh, that's past the Daldonian period, because I go back to the 1900s.
During the Paleozoic era, about 400 million years ago. But if you take a look, this is a time when this region was covered by kind of a coral sea. So you'll find lots of brachiopods, corals.
You know what's great about this is you can bring the kids here and guaranteed they're going to find
You trip over fossils. There's
Right.
so many. You don't have to look very hard. And what is stellar about Rockport is that each individual is allowed to take 25 pounds of rocks home with them.
That's why I have the basket
That's
on
why
your...
I have the bike basket. Let's get collecting.
Incredible. This is like a look back in time, totally. Look at this one. You can totally tell this is a little invertebrate, little animal.
Right there. And here, I like these ones. They're sparkly. Because I'm a girl.
Rockport State Park really is one of the most surreal and unique places I've ever been. And it really made our trip to Alpena worthwhile. Well, now that we've been to the moon, next up we're going to go to a lake in the clouds surrounded by Porcupine Mountains. Wow, sounds like lyrics from a Beatles song. The Porcupine Mountains are located in the UP's extreme northwest wilderness. It's a ways, but well worth the drive. This state park is over 60,000 acres of ancient mountains, towering virgin timber, remote trails, wild rivers, and secluded lakes. And speaking of secluded lakes, there's one place here at the Porkies I've always wanted to see. And the short hike to it is even suitable for a low plains flatlander like me. It's called Lake of the Clouds. And to make sure we found our way to and from it, I met up with park naturalist Bob Wild.
Well, Bob, this is where I usually say wow, but believe it or not, I'm speechless.
It's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is your office. This is so cool. This has got to be one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. I've seen the Grand Canyon. I have not seen the Eiffel Tower. I'm working on that, but still, this is absolutely breathtaking.
A pretty typical comment that we get from park visitors when they get here is a lot of them say they never knew something like this existed in Michigan. And yeah, you can see why.
Is that a deep lake or is it pretty shallow?
No, Lake of the Clouds is not very deep. It's only about 15 feet deep. It's about 1.25 miles long, quarter-mile wide, but it's only about 15 feet deep, loaded with smallmouth bass.
Now it looks like complete wilderness all around the entire lake. Is that true, or are there people down there camping?
Yeah, there could be some people camping. We've got some backcountry campsites that are on the south part of the lake. One of the park's rustic cabins is on kind of down in this corner of the lake, but it's all wilderness. There's no roads, no people. That's all park property that you see there. In fact, almost everything you're looking at is all part of the old growth forest of the park as well. So that area's never been logged either.
Well, how high in elevation is Lake of the Clouds?
The lake itself, right now, it's about 300 feet below us. The kind of the fun thing about this spot is when people get here, it feels like you're the top of the world, the highest spot in the park. And in reality, this is the midway point from the lowest elevation to the highest elevation. Lake Superior is the lowest elevation, about 600 feet above sea level. Summit Peak, the highest spot in the park, is 1,958 feet above sea level. And we're about 1,350 here. We're the halfway spot between the lowest and the highest.
Really?
Yeah, in fact, there's a lake in the park that's 200 feet higher in elevation than what we are right now.
What's that one called? Lake of the Stratosphere?
Close, Mirror Lake.
Oh, Mirror Lake, okay.
Now, there's so much beauty to take in at the Porcupine Mountain Wilderness State Park that you might want to stay a few days. And for that, we've got you covered. This is a world-class camping destination for nature lovers far and wide. And with the majestic views of the Lake Superior shoreline just steps away, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better place to get your camp on than right here.
Hey, and if you're feeling kind of Mongolian, they even have these really cool yurts that you can get. Come on, I'll show you. Look at this, huh? Comes with a broom. It's got this cool little table right here. It's got a sunlight. There's bunk beds. It's got a look at this, wood-burning stove. Oh, it's still warm. Very nice. And these beds look awesome, very comfortable. You can even lay down after a hard day of swimming or hiking and maybe take yourself a little.
Must have been all that clean UP air.
Oh. Wow, I feel great now. Bob? Bob?
Now, when I say the UP is our own out west, the next place Bob took us proved that to be absolutely 100% true.
Okay, Bob. Why didn't you tell me you had waterfalls here, too?
It's kind of a well-kept secret here in the park. It's the very western end of the park, and this is the scenic Presque Isle River. It's a whole series of waterfalls and water slides, surrounded by old-growth forest, fantastic geology. This place alone could easily be a park.
Well, yeah, I mean, just to show people how big, or explain how big this park is, it was a 25-mile drive through the park to get here. We actually changed time zones to get here.
That's correct.
But it's so well worth the drive. This is spectacular.
Yeah, this is one of the areas that we highly recommend people visit when they're here. And one thing I always tell people is plan for a lot of time when you get over there, because it's just an area that you're just going to want to spend more time at. It is so amazing and a lot of just well-kept secrets. It's just a great spot.
The downriver hike Bob took us on was, in a word, spectacular. Around every bend was another view worth a long and lingering look. It's unbelievable how much beauty and extreme wilderness we have at this massive park.
You know, I've wanted to see the Porcupine Mountains all my life, and it took me getting a TV show to finally get up here and do it. Don't wait till you get your own TV show. Get up and see this park soon, because it's so beautiful up here, you'll think you're in Michigan.
So you feeling relaxed and green yet? Good, because now we're going to take you way out on Lake Michigan for a UTR adventure, island style. Since 1917, the Manitou Island Transit Company has been taking people out to explore North and South Manitou Islands. These two beautiful and rugged islands are about 15 miles offshore and are part of the Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore. Ah, the seas were angry that day, my friend, so the ride out was not for the faint of stomach. But I tell you what, holding on to the person next to you really is a great way to meet new people. Now, we took the trip out to South Manitou Island. The island is only about 3 miles across, but it actually feels much bigger. And no one permanently lives here anymore, but it's still an incredible place to camp or just explore for the day.
Our tour guide for the day was Mike Grosvenor. His family's been here for generations, so he knows everything there is to know about these islands. And that makes one of us.
A lot of my friends have been to Leland, and they love it. They love Fishtown, but they never even thought about doing this, about taking the transit out, taking the boat out here and seeing these islands. This is a true treasure.
Absolutely. Probably a big reason for that is that you need to set aside a full day. It's a lot bigger commitment than just going shopping in Leland or going down to the beach for a while.
Right.
Our people are more likely to be people that are seeking out this type of experience and making that kind of commitment for a whole day's adventure.
But it's so worth it when you get out here and you see the stuff that's out here. And you can hike out here, you can camp out here.
Yep. This is the dual purpose island, or our day visit island, we call it, whereas North Manitou is wilderness camping.
Right.
And South Manitou is semi-wilderness camping, but we also spend the afternoon here.
So we made our way through some beautiful forests to the southern tip of the island for a look at something I couldn't wait to see, the shipwrecked Francisco Morazan.
This is a spectacular sight of this shipwreck. Now tell me about, how did this happen?
Yeah, it is a dramatic view. In 1960, a November storm, a young, inexperienced captain was trying to get back out of the Great Lakes before he was trapped in here for the winter, which maybe made him use some bad judgment in leaving in a big storm.
And apparently, he wasn't the first.
This is a graveyard of shipwrecks. I mean, he's one of 13 or 14 ships that just missed the basically narrow channel after 200 and some odd miles coming up here and getting buffeted about by the storms and currents. Between here and Sleeping Bear over there is pretty narrow target, and obviously he missed.
As if seeing the shipwreck wasn't cool enough, Mike took me on a great hike through the island where we got to check out the Valley of the Giants. Some of these mammoth cedar trees are over 600 years old, and apparently they won't be around much longer, so I suggest you come up and see them real soon. They're another one of Michigan's great hidden treasures, just like the islands they call home.
Now, next up, get ready to island hop, because we're heading to the Motor City for a place that's back on everybody's radar. Why, you ask? You'll see.
Now, right now, we're going to one of your very favorite places, which is Belle Isle. Why are you so in love with Belle Isle?
Well, it's the serenity and the peace. I know it might not seem like I know how to be quiet, but...
I didn't say anything.
You don't have to, but Belle Isle, that's my sanctity. That I was telling you, Belle Isle and Eastern Market, the two places together, that keeps me sane, it keeps me whole. Those places keep me Detroit.
Across the bridge, I was lucky enough to hook up with park manager Karis Floyd at the Botanical Gardens. He's heading up the DNR's new efforts here and making a real difference on the island.
You know, a lot of people say that Belle Isle is a hidden gem, but actually it's right in the middle of the river. It's it's hard to miss.
Right.
But this island, also a lot of people don't realize, is bigger than Central Park.
It is. It's 900 acres here. It's one of the larger inner urban city parks in America.
Yeah, I heard it's actually the largest city-owned island park
in
America.
Yes.
And just explain a little bit about what you guys are doing here.
Well, I tell you, we're just trying to bring the families back to Belle Isle. And so what we've done is we've started from the very basic stuff, and that means looking at the buildings.
And I have to say, I'm thrilled that the DNR has taken stewardship of the island because there's so much cool stuff that you guys are revitalizing now. What are some of the buildings you're working on?
We've got the casino building that we've gone through. It now has heat for the first time in probably 40 years. Water, hot water. I mean, it doesn't seem important, but it's extremely important. We've gone through and we've upgraded all the playground structures on the island. Of course, you can see all the mowing that goes on. It's just a ton of acreage, 900 acres to mow.
But we're in the Botanical Gardens. It's part of the conservatory here?
It is, part of the conservatory, yes.
Incredible.
Yep, this is maintained by our stewardship crew on a Monday through Sunday basis.
Have you counted how many plants are in here?
I haven't, but I walk through all the time, and I'm just amazed at what I see when I walk through here.
And another gem on the island is the aquarium, which apparently I didn't know until recently is the oldest aquarium in the United States.
In the United States, and it's open on Saturdays and Sundays, run by volunteers, but it's maintained beautifully, and it is packed full of people on weekends.
You must feel like you won the lottery as far as managing state parks, being here on Belle Isle.
Right. For me, this was just a no-brainer. Grew up around here. Opportunity to come back to Belle Isle to help turn it back to what it used to be. Fantastic. I love it.
Well, what are some of the other things that people can, some other differences people can expect if they haven't been here for a while?
Well, if you haven't been here for a while, you know, you've got canoe kayaking back on the island again. You can rent bicycles on the island again. We've got like a Caribbean-style theme at the beach, so now you can rent cabanas and chairs and such at the beach. We want that Caribbean-style atmosphere there. If you are a foodie, we got you covered. We got barbecue here. If you're a health nut, we got you covered there too. We got turkey burgers on land. And with our athletic complex, if you want to come out here, we just got a $300,000 grant for that. We're going to be fixing up that facility. People can come out. You can do tennis, racquetball, soccer, rugby. You'll be able to do all that, baseball on brand new fields.
So it's going to become a world-class park again.
Exactly.
It's on a beautiful island in the middle of the river with the best views of the city.
Yes.
And speaking of beautiful, the fountain here. I remember I took a picture of myself in front of the fountain years ago, and I sent it to somebody, and they said, "Oh, when did you go to Rome?" I mean, it's incredible how beautiful. Tell me about the fountain.
It is. The fountain itself, we will run it beginning Memorial Weekend all the way through Labor Day. It's labor intensive to get it up and running, but we do run it from 6 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. We still do the color theme. I don't know if you remember that as a kid.
Yes,
but
I
the
do.
color show, we do that still. You know, so again, it is still a very focal point of Belle Isle.
Yeah, just standing next to that fountain at that end of the island with the views of the city and then across to Windsor, Canada, it's breathtaking.
Yeah, it is.
Speaking of Canada, they're right across the river. Do you ever worry about an invasion?
No. No, with Homeland Security around, I don't worry about that.
Oh, no, if they do, don't worry. I speak Canadian.
Okay. I'll call on you.
Belle Isle adds so much to the quality of life we all share here in Southeast Michigan, and we're so lucky to have it. And now, with all the renovations underway, it's going to get even better.
Now, last but not least, we take a quick visit to a park in southwest Lower Michigan for some fun, sun, a whole lot of sand, and some TV magic.
Now, our first stop here in Harbor Country is Warren Dunes State Park on Lake Michigan. And this just goes to show you, we don't just have sand dunes up north in Michigan, we've got huge dunes you can climb right here in Harbor Country, which is another reason why we're going to get this back.
It's no wonder the others have been keeping this a secret from us. I mean, who wouldn't want a beautiful park like this all to themselves? The beach is gigantic, the water is clear, the sand is perfect, and climbing the 260-foot dune is a great way to work up a dinner appetite.
That was spectacular. I climbed the whole thing. You're gonna edit that, right? Awesome. Then they'll think I really did it.
Well, that about does it for this edition of UTR Parks and Rec. Thanks so much for watching, and make sure you visit a Michigan park real soon. And if you do, also make sure that you make some s'mores, because you never know who's going to stop by. Oh yeah, I like extra chocolate.
Hey folks, thanks so much for watching Under the Radar Michigan. I really appreciate it. Look, if you want to know more about what we do, where we go, what we have, go to utrmichigan.com. You can get our brand new book, UTR The First 50. You can get DVDs of our shows. You can get wearables, even this brand new hoodie like the one I'm wearing right here. Pretty sweet, huh? So go to utrmichigan.com. You'll have fun, I guarantee.
Support for Under the Radar Michigan comes from the Michigan State Housing Development Authority. For 50 years, MSHDA has been proud to help thousands of Michigan residents find a home and open all the possibilities found within. MSHDA, opening possibilities.
Along the way is where we find the unexpected. Along the way is where we take in the scenery, and often where we have the most fun. Sure, along the way can be the place we stop to fill up or grab a bite to eat. But in Michigan, along the way becomes the place we've been longing for. Because enjoying the journey is always pure Michigan. Your trip begins at Michigan.org.
Additional support provided by the Corporation for Supportive Housing, helping to build housing that lets homeless and disabled people connect to homes, health care, jobs, and the community. And by Community Economic Development Association of Michigan, providing advocacy, resources, and training to organizations working to create vibrant Michigan communities.